it was different. It felt like I wasn't just doing the hard work and the healing work for myself. It was like somehow as I was doing that, I was healing those who had hurt me and those who had hurt them. Hey, it's Heba. So I was reading this book that I got from the library, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And I had heard about Joe Dispenza before, and I had watched some of his YouTube and stuff like that. Heard him in interviews. My friend goes to his retreats, so I feel like he's been around in my life, but I haven't full on read one of like an entire book of his. And so I just felt inspired to it. And I'm just at the beginning, pretty much, like the first official chapter. And he said this thing that really struck me because I mean, I'm sure you've heard it before that in quantum physics, it's like, is it an electron will behave whatever way the observer who's looking at it expects it to behave. So, it'll collapse into a particle or a wave depending on the person who's looking at it. And that was like a big breakthrough moment, I guess, in science, in quantum physics. And he said something really interesting, though. It was like this study where people were in the hospital with some kind of infection, and half of them were prayed for and half of them were not. And then they kind of evaluated the results. Did their symptoms get better more quickly? What was the mortality rate? And the thing that was really interesting to me was that it wasn't like people that were in the hospital then. It was people cumulatively in the hospital from like 1990 to 2000 or something like that. And so they found that the people that were prayed for actually had an improvement in symptoms, even though it was something that had happened in the past. So it's just like really wild that in the now moment, you could be affecting the past, your present, your future, which I guess is all past and future. I don't know. But anyway, it was so interesting to me because I've been on this like super weirdo healing journey. I'd say starting like spring of last year. Yeah, it was quite a I think they call it an ego death. But no, it was really healing some deep wounds, and I didn't even know that that's what I was doing at the time, but I felt like something intense was happening and I had support, which was nice. But during that time, as I was stepping forward into that healing and accepting it and doing the really hard work, I felt like something was changing. And I'm an energy reader or whatever, so a lot of times I'm drifting in the ether, not drifting, purposefully, looking and observing. And I felt something shift that affected the past as well as the future. Like the work that I was doing was kind of like going outward in all directions, into time and space. And it felt like I was healing the past and like past generations. And I had heard about people talking about, like generational trauma, or maybe that's something different, but generational healing and healing your ancestors' wounds and things like that. And I don't know, it just never really called to me. I was like, okay, cool. And then, but this was so different. Like experiencing it was different. It felt like I wasn't just doing the hard work and the healing work for myself. It was like somehow as I was doing that, I was healing those who had hurt me and those who had hurt them, and onward, backward and forward. And it's wild because I experienced that and I was telling my sister about it. And then in this book, it was like, because he's basically saying that all possibilities, all possibilities are there to be experienced. Like there's potential to experience lots of different versions of yourself, and that every time you're kind of thinking one up, even in the moment of like the worst possible scenario, best possible scenario, and current scenario, all of those potentialities exist, and it just depends on which one you focus into. But it's interesting that it's over space and time, past, future, present, and just really made me think about that and how important it is to do the hard work, even when you don't know why or even when you don't want to, because it stinks. And I love working on myself. I love healing, obviously, and doing that hard work. But man, the past year and a half or so was kicking my butt. I was like, you know what? I don't need to be healed. I'm good. I'm just gonna chill with what I have. But then it's just like there's such a responsibility, I feel like, to myself and to maybe to those who thought that they were doing the best they could. I mean, they were doing the best they could. I just feel like, yeah, I guess I owe it to myself, to my child self, to my teenager self, to my adult self, to do that work, to stand up, because I saw very directly, even when you don't have any intention to hurt another, when you don't heal, when you don't look at what needs to be looked at, when you're not in truth with yourself, it's like you inevitably do hurt other people. And I think it's okay to an extent, because it's kind of an inevitability of life is pain, and you just do the best that you can do. But I think that hurting someone because you haven't done the work, because I haven't done the work, because I didn't want to do the hard thing, because I wanted to stay in a space where I was lying to myself, even, unconsciously. Like, that's not okay with me. Like, that's not okay. And so, yeah, just very cool. Just wanted to share that. And, I'm just at the beginning of the book, but it encompasses a lot of things I've heard before, that I've been into before. Basically, in my own words, how to not become enslaved to physical reality, to the reality that you're living, and think that that's it. It's just going to keep creating more of itself, and that there isn't something else, because there is. You can completely change your life. You can completely change who you are. And so this is kind of like a, how do you do it, using science and your brain? How do you retrain yourself, and retrain your brain? So I'll let you know how it goes, but it was just a really cool parallel there. So thanks for watching. Happy healing. Okay, bye.